You're watching Bloomberg Law. I'm Lee Pacquiao. A couple of weeks ago, Citibank put out a rather ominous report on the market for legal services in 2012 and noted that while top-line revenue was up slightly for the first half of the year, the prospects for next year are really not so great. Here to take us through what 2013 holds for law firms, we have Kent Zimmerman, consultant for law firms at the Zeughauser Group in Chicago. He joins us, of course, from Chicago. Hi, Kent. Welcome back.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So this is a tough report. I got to ask, you spend your days working with large law firms, helping them become more profitable. What are your clients saying about this report?
You know, first half of the year started off strong. It was a healthy first half of the year for many firms. But a lot of our clients look at this report and they say it's resonating with them. In the second half of the year, many of our clients have seen a material decline in demand. That decline is being led by a drop-off in corporate work, including in Silicon Valley, which was a bright spot until Facebook happened. So although the first half of the year was strong, it's just in the past 6 to 8 weeks that many firms are saying that they believe they're going to see a decline in both revenue and profits this year.
It's striking because I thought things, just from my point of view, things were going pretty well throughout 2012, aside from doing LaBeouf, of course. Aside from the Facebook issue taking the air out of the balloon in Silicon Valley, what else can explain this cratering in demand, as you put it? What is this a macroeconomic problem that we're seeing develop in the legal space?
Yeah. It is. You put your finger on it, Lee. It's a macroeconomic problem led by the fact that jobs aren't coming back. Although corporate earnings are relatively strong, stock market in relatively good shape recently, jobs aren't coming back, and corporations that are using big firms continue to exert dramatic fee pressure on them. That's the big issue. And then also on a parallel track, corporate deals, transactions, they're fallen off compared to what they were in the first half of the year as well as last year.
So what are you telling your clients? How should they respond to this shift in demand?
They need to get lean. In a word, they need to get lean. They need to reduce chronic underperformers. They need to reduce fixed overhead, both in terms of attorney and staff overhead. They need to reduce excess real estate. Firms that get lean can come through this and have a lot of opportunity on the other side, but there's a lot of firms that really need to get lean right now is what they need to do.
So we're talking about layoffs here, correct?
Absolutely. And, you know, there have been what I would refer to as stealth layoffs the first half of this year. So there have been quiet layoffs, and there are additional planned layoffs at many firms. These are strong firms not associated with weak performance, and they're getting stronger because they're laying people off. In other words, they're shrinking in order to grow financially stronger. That's what they're doing.
Ken, we were talking before about LPOs. I was wondering if you could talk a little bit for our audience about what they are and why they're becoming so important in the legal services space.
Yeah, it's an important development. We're seeing a quiet shift towards firm that used to use partner track associates to do low-level work. So I'm talking about due diligence in the context of a transaction, discovery in the context of litigation, second requests in the context of antitrust. We're seeing firms realize that they could use less expensive resources to get that work done. And the less expensive resources are sometimes internal pools of talent that are paid less than partner track talent. And they're also using what you referred to, LPOs. LPOs provide lower cost attorneys to do some of this routine work, and firms have started to experiment, and some have done more than experiment in using them. What's interesting is many firms are using these LPOs at the request of their clients. So we see this as a further segmentation of the legal industry, meaning that clients are responding to specialization, and they use some firms for high-end work, they use other firms for what they perceive as commodity work, and in some cases they're even asking firms to use LPOs in order to more cost-effectively deliver the work.
This is an epic shift in the landscape for legal services. I have to ask, do you see this trend as irreversible at this point?
I think so quick answer to your question, yes. I think that increasingly this is a split in the market where clients are driving change by increasing the efficiency of the delivery of services in the market. LPOs are picking up steam. There was a report out in the last week that the LPO industry is at an all-time high in terms of revenues. Revenues in the LPO sector are reaching $1 billion, which is unprecedented. That is in large part because clients are exerting pressure to firms to get the work done more efficiently. It's a little bit like the Industrial Revolution is coming late to the legal industry. There's a more efficient distribution of labor. That's essentially what's happening.
We're talking about entering an environment of real disruptive change. Are we going to see more firms go the way of Dewey and LaBeouf and shut their doors forever?
Nobody likes to talk about this, but I'll just say, if the economy doesn't turn around in a significant way by the middle to end of next year, by the middle of end of 2013, we believe that there could be significant law firm failures. And when I say significant, I mean significant in number. 3 to 5 AmLaw 200 firms could fail by the end of next year unless they get lean and improve their financial performance.
What about mergers? Do you see any large firms pairing up in the coming months?
You know, we've seen an increase, an uptick in merger activity. The difficulty with mergers is there's a lot of interest, and many more are talked about than actually get done. There's a lot of barriers to getting them done. But we've seen an increase in interest. Some of those are mergers that could happen out of necessity. Others are more strategic in nature. I would not be surprised if by the end of 2013 we see more than one significant merger.
So it sounds like what you're saying, the ideal law firm of the future is going to be a lot smaller and a lot more nimble. Is that correct?
Well, I think firms will definitely want to be nimble. On size, there will still be many very large firms. Some of the largest firms will still get larger. But what I would say is firms will need to be nimble, and firms will increasingly stake out their positions in the market, stake out the practices for which they want to build what we would call known for status. They'll decide for which practice areas they want to get on the short list for key matters that corporations are hiring outside counsel. Less firms will try to be the best at everything. More will choose their known for areas and prioritize their resources to build that status.
All right, tough stuff. Ken, I want to thank you for your time today, sir.
My pleasure.
If you'd like to learn more about the cases and issues we just discussed, be sure to go check out our offerings on BloombergLaw.com and also on the Bloomberg Terminal. You can follow our updates on Twitter and find more of our videos on YouTube. I'm Lee Packia. Thanks for watching.